Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, it's so meaningful to see you. Actually, can you all, I want you to do a promise, those of you who are here on Zoom, to, but don't do this action until I say go. I want you to unmute yourself, but then promise to mute yourself again. And when you unmute yourself, I just want to hear your voices to say Shabbat Shalom. So 1, 2, 3, unmute.
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
What's so fascinating, and I think I can speak for myself as well as Cantor Lonnie and Cantorial intern Liz, that we recognized each and every one of your voices. And it's as though, how do I put this? We talk about our encounters with God as though it's seeing different faces of a diamond. And when we heard all of these voices coming around, it's like hearing God's voice. And that just speaks to our souls. Dear friends, we are at this time of our year again. Slichot. The best way I can describe Slichot is through my own spiritual language, and that is of Rabbi Paul Simon and Rabbi Art Garfunkel. I first fell in love with their music when I was about 15, and the first album I got was their greatest hits. And that was my introduction to just how powerful their music was. Had I not gotten their greatest hits, I would never have begun to listen to some of the more esoteric songs that Paul Simon wrote and that they sang together. Some of those songs that are just a little bit off the wall, some songs which brought me on a journey into wonderment, some songs that I didn't like at first, but that grew on me over time. I would not have had the relationship with any of that were it not for the greatest hits. In many ways, that's what Slichot is about. It's the greatest hits of the High Holy Days. And not the greatest hits that make us go rah, 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 although some of them might. It's really the greatest hits of the themes of these very special holy days. And so over the next hour, we're going to have the opportunity to touch on many of those grand themes that we are familiar with. And that will get us ready when we enter Rosh Hashanah and later Yom Kippur to take those greatest hits and go deeper into some of those themes that might make us uncomfortable, some themes that will be self-reflective, themes that will help us to deepen and grow, and themes that are important for us to look at deeply as we enter the year. We really hoped that we would all be in person right now. It makes me really sad. And later on in our time together, we're going to have a discussion about where our feelings are and what it's like to be in this venue. But while it makes me sad, it's really special to be together. And you have our sacred oath from all of us in leadership, that whether it's via Zoom or YouTube or any of the in-person opportunities, we will find ways to make meaningful connections. That's what we do. And that's why we're here. And that's why we're starting now. Cantor Lonnie, do you want to talk more about the music that we're using tonight?
Of course. So much like Rabbi was saying, this is a period of the beginning of reflection, and this is sort of the hits of the holy days. And so many of the songs that you'll be hearing today, our prayers, are highlights from the different services during the High Holy Days. So we welcome you as always to participate, to sing along at home or just hum or sing la la la. But as always, we love your participation. Some of the melodies will sound familiar, some may not, but they are all here to bring us on a journey to begin this period of High Holy Days. We begin with the singing of Hine Ma Tov, how wonderful it is that we are all here together. Hine Ma Tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. 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 Hine Ma Tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
Hine Ma Tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Ma Tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Ma Tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Ma Tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Ma Tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Ma Tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
I offer a reading from the Hasidic tradition. A tale is told of one who sat in the study of the tzaddik, Rabbi Mordechai of Nadvona. And before Rosh Hashanah, he came to get permission from the Rebbe. But the Rebbe said, "What's going on? Why are you agitated?" And the person who came to the Rebbe said, "Well, I'm a reader in the service. I must look into the Machzor, into the festival prayer books, so I can put my prayers in order." The tzaddik said to him, "The prayer book is exactly the same as it was last year. It will be so much more meaningful for you to look into your own deeds and put yourself in order." Friends, that is what these holy days are about. It's not about studying every word in the prayer book. It's about looking deep inside, returning to the voices that are deep in our hearts. Cantorial intern Liz will continue along with Cantor Lani with our Hashivenu.
Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Elecha,
One of the, oops, there we go. One of the central prayers during the holy days is the Ashamnu. It's an acrostic, an alphabet of ways that we have transgressed over the past year. One of the key important factors with the holy days is that we don't come to God and talk in the first person singular. We do it in the first person plural. We're here together as a community. And so we're going to invite you, if you are able, to rise for this prayer, because we, again, do this as a unit. And even though you're muted, trust me, we hear you in our hearts. Each time the cantor sings one of the words, we should repeat it after her, even with our mute button on.
And our cantorial intern will act as our congregation and will be doing the repetitions for this prayer. Ashamnu,
Ashamnu,
Baganu,
Bagadnu,
Gazanu,
Gazalnu,
Dibarnu Dofi,
Dibarnu Dofi,
Hevinu,
Hevinu,
Vihishanu,
Vihirshanu,
Zanu,
Zadnu,
Hamasnu,
Hamasnu,
Tafanu Sheker,
Tafalnu Sheker,
Yatsnura,
Yatznura,
Kizovnu,
Kizavnu,
Latsnu,
Latznu,
Maranu,
Maradnu,
Niatsnu,
Niatznu,
Saranu,
Saranu,
Avinu,
Avinu,
Pashanu,
Pashanu,
Saranu,
Saranu,
Kishinu Oref,
Kishinu Oref,
Rashanu,
Rashanu,
Shichadnu,
Shichadnu,
Tiavnu,
Tiavnu,
Tainu,
Tainu,
Titanu,
Titanu,
We have all committed offenses, and now we have the opportunity to confess these human transgressions. the sins of arrogance, bigotry and cynicism, of deceit and egotism, flattery and greed, injustice and jealousy. Some of us kept grudges, were lustful, malicious, or narrow-minded. Others were obstinate or possessive, quarrelsome, rancorous, or selfish. There is violence, weakness of will, xenophobia. We yielded to temptation and showed zeal for bad causes. We continue with the Al-Chet. In a traditional machzor, this prayer is a little bit different than in the machzor that I grew up with and different than the one that many of you may be familiar with. So the Al-Chet is the time of the service where we say, for the sin that we have committed against you by injustice, we are sorry. A traditional machzor actually would say, for the sin that we have committed against you through injustice, for which we deserve stoning, we are sorry. Or for the sin that we have committed against you with xenophobia, for which we deserve 50 lashes or 40 lashes, we are sorry. Our prayer book doesn't do that. We're not looking at what we should be punished with in such a horrifying way. Rather, our machzor says, for the sins that we've done, let's think deeply about it and redirect our lives to move forward in a holy way. And so let me offer some of these in English, and then we'll share the Hebrew melody. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha. We have sinned against life by keeping silent in the face of injustice. We have sinned against life by forgetting the poor in our own midst. We have withheld our love from those who depend on us. We've distorted the truth for our own advantage. We have indulged in despair and trafficked with cynics. We have neglected our heritage of learning. We've sinned against ourselves and not risen to fulfill the best that is in us. We have sinned against life by failing to work for peace. We've sinned against life by ignoring those who suffer in distant lands. That one really hits close to home with what we are seeing in Afghanistan right now and trying to find ways to help. We have failed to respect those made B'Tselem Elohim in the image of God. We have engaged in gossip and in repeated slander. We have conformed to fashion and not to conscience. We have given meager support to our houses of study. We've sinned against ourselves and paid scant heed to the life of the Spirit. Va'al kulam Eloah Slichot, shlach lanu machal lanu kaper lanu. For all these, O God of mercy, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement.
Ve'al kulam Eloah Slichot, selach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu.
Thank you so much, Cantors. I'm going to go ahead and put my view to gallery view because I want to be able to see everyone. It's very meaningful to see you. For those who are on, have your videos off, if you feel comfortable turning them on, that would be meaningful. Because I want to engage in a conversation, more than a study, a conversation. And I have a leading question, and I really love everyone to think deeply about this. And hopefully everyone here will have an opportunity to share and to respond. So it's really a two-part question. The question is this, or the questions are this: what is it that you find truly meaningful during the Holy Day season? And how, during this Zoom world that we're in, how are you able to get there? Maybe there are some handicaps in your way. Maybe it's hard for you to get there. But how do you hope to continue to get there? So again, the first question is, what in general do you find most meaningful during the holy days? And how, bridging the gap with this venue that we're in, how do you hope to maintain that connection even with these obstacles in the way? So I'll give you an example and I'll just begin, but I really would love others to just raise your hand and I'll call on you and to share as well. So there are times during the holy days, and I may not expect it, but when the cantor hits this one note, sometimes it's in Kol Nidre, sometimes it's in Va'al Kulam, sometimes I just don't even know, but it touches this space inside of me that's just awesome. And what makes that so awesome is that I can see in the eyes of the sea of people that it's touched them also. So that's usually my high point. It's harder on Zoom. It's harder on Zoom to have that feeling of collective just being in the same place. So I have to work harder at it. And that's part of why, for example, just now I asked everyone to go into gallery view, because there are just times I really want to be able to see you. And I think it's important for us to be able to see each other. So that's my high point. And even with these obstacles in the way, I'm still, after a year and a half, trying to find these avenues to continue to tap into creating those holy moments. So I really welcome others to share what's most meaningful to you during the holy days and how you hope to bridge the abyss to get there. Would anyone else like to share? Ira, I think your hand is raised there. Yeah.
Hi, Rabbi, and hi, everybody. For me, I mean, there's a lot that makes High Holy Days special. Part of it is the anticipation of it and the solemnness of the days and the importance of the days and celebrating these together as a community. That's what really makes it for me. Also, dressing up. Everybody's dressed up. It's like the one time we can see everybody totally prepared. The fasting is different. Zoom, we still see each other. I really, really appreciate that. We can still fast. It's not the same thing, but it's still really special because we have a relationship with everyone and with the community. And so we still feel that.
Thank you, Ira. And Ira, you said something really interesting. You said many things that were interesting, but one of my takeaways is the dressing up. In addition to dressing up, we've got a great opportunity to choose a background. And if we can't choose a virtual background, and some of us here have one, like, Ed Wolkowitz is broadcasting from Jerusalem right now, even though he's less than half a mile away from Temple Akiva, we have an opportunity to really think about what our Zoom box will look like. What kind of flowers are you going to put in there? What kind of picture do you want hanging on the wall behind you? What's your lighting going to be like? So it's not only how we dress up, but how we want our space to look.
Rabbi, I have to say, I got a kick out of what Ira said, because every year I would go to High Holy Day services in work clothes.
Right? Hold on, Ed. Sorry, you would go in work clothes, and I just have to laugh because, of course, me as the rabbi, my cell phone was on just now. So remember, during holy days, have your mute on and make sure your phones are off. I think I saw Herman Barnathan. Please, Herman.
Thank you, Rabbi. This is my first year of being part of the High Holy Day services at Temple Akiva. But for 40 years, I served in a choir in another synagogue. 39 of those years were live, and unfortunately, one was Zoom. To me, singing in the choir, my voice is heard, not only by God, but by the people and the multitudes of people that were there. I'm looking at a synagogue that is full of faces, full of people. To me, that is very, very important. I do not really like the idea, although I'm there every Friday night, I do not like the idea of a service where there are not lots and lots and lots of people. So to me, being able to look out over the synagogue and the choir area was raised, God was hearing my voice. The people there were hearing my voice. Although I was part of the choir, maybe they didn't hear it, but I knew that what I was doing was right. And looking at all of the faces out there made me, it is the holy days. The people are there. People are together. This to me is extremely important. I miss it. Hopefully next year we will be back to it again.
Thank you so much, Herman, for sharing. Would anyone else like to share a thought based on this? Yeah, hi, Shirley. It's good to see you. And then Terry. Shirley, if you can hit that famous unmute button. Shirley, we still can't hear you, but as you're looking for it, let's have Terry speak.
Good evening, Rabbi and everyone. I wanted to say that even though we're on Zoom, for me, the High Holy Days is really about that time of reflection, and it's not changed by Zoom. And invariably, for the past few decades, whenever this period comes up during our Jewish New Year, I always feel an extraordinary tension. And then with the completion of the Yom Kippur services, I truly do feel a sense of relief and renewal. And I actually, although I like getting together, and I have attended a few times when I've been able to, when we attended personally in the services outside, I really enjoyed it. But it's not a distraction for me to be on Zoom for the High Holy Day services, because when we are all gathered together, invariably there's the noise in the background, the people talking, the echo of somebody dropping something. Whereas here, I'm able to really, truly be more focused. And yet I can look and I can see everyone as well. And so, although getting together is wonderful, for me, the Zoom is not a distraction from what High Holy Days is about. And it still allows me that sense of being able to reflect, which, as you said, Rabbi, it's more important than what's in the prayer books. It's really what's going on with us and looking inside.
Thank you, Terry. Very, very powerfully said. Shirley, can we come back to you? I'm not sure if you could hit that unmute button. Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe put in the chat box what you wanted to share, and we can look at that. Hi, Carol Siebman.
Hi, Rabbi. Hi, everybody. Well, singing in the choir, as Herman said, is always a highlight for me. But one thing in particular that is different on high holidays is Kol Nidre. It really gets me into the spirit of reflection and what high holidays really means to me. So that's my highlight.
Thank you, Carol. Ed, we'll come back to you in a moment. I think I see Don Mann's hand raised. Don and Mickey, it's so good to see you.
Good to see you, Rabbi, and everybody else in our congregation. It's hard to believe another year, but for me, the high holidays is springtime. It's springtime because I believe it's the beginning of a seed for another year. And how you look at the year and look back at the previous year is very important. And as you get a little bit older, and I'm getting a little bit older, being 97, and the reflection of it as springtime, it's opportunity time. Every day is a gift. Every day is a chance to make somebody you love happier or sadder, and you have the choice. And to make a choice to have that day a better day is the same for the year. And the high holidays, you can reflect in the sense of, how was last year? Are there ways that I could have, or things I could have done? And in the coming year, will I do them? I can't always fulfill that resolve, but I try. And I have the congregation and the community that Kempo Kipa reflects and represents is an amazing community to live in. And I want to thank everybody in it for the help and the camaraderie that we have. If somebody needs a hand, the hand is there for us. In the beginning of the pandemic, we got phone calls. Do you need shopping? Do you need this? Do you need that? And I thank everybody for thinking of those who are a little bit older. And I look forward to the coming year as a wonderful year. And I'm also looking forward to seeing you. But Zoom is a gift. We couldn't all be together like we are at times on Zoom. Our family gets together every week on Sunday. And they're all spread all over the world. And we get to see them. And it's a pleasure and a smile that comes to our face when we think about it and do it. God bless all of you, and Shana Tova.
Don and Mickey, we love seeing you here. We love seeing you anywhere, but it's so special that you're here, and thank you for that wisdom. Ed Wilkowitz and then Myrna Caden, and then if there's anyone after that, maybe just one or two more thoughts.
Let me say, first of all, Shana Tova to everyone. And to Don Mann, I have to tell you, Don, I've been in a wheelchair for the last 7 weeks. So I feel a whole lot older than you. You know, there's something special about several hundred members getting together and sharing the spirituality that Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur bring. And Rabbi, I've been meaning to ask you, and I'm sure that you've been asked this question before, but I haven't heard the answer. Is there now a halacha on Zoom minions?
It's a great question. Let me unpackage that. Halacha means Jewish law, and a minyan is halachically a group of 10 adult Jewish males, meaning 13 and older. So when Zoom began, the reform movement had no problem. Okay, let's do our services on Zoom. No matter how many are there, that's fine. For those who were in the more traditional movements, including conservative, they had to sort of make decisions as to how to land on it. But most conservative congregations had no issue having on Shabbat, on the holy days, a Zoom service. Some of the more traditional conservative ones would do only pre-recorded so that they wouldn't have to use electronics on Shabbat. And for Orthodox, for the most part, except for some of the very modern Orthodox places, they still, excuse me, they still will not do a Zoom minyan on Shabbat. The question is, will a Zoom minyan, when it's not Shabbat or not a holy day, count? And the answer is yes.
But my question really was that I thought that in order to have a minyan, the 10 adults had to be in the same room.
Well, so again, in response to it, there's no such thing as new halacha. Halacha is halacha. The question is, will it be permissible for some? This is going to be a very Jewish answer. For some, yes. For some, no. How's that for definitive? Perfect. Okay. Myrna, Caton, please. Hello. It's good to see your box and know that you're
Yes. Shana Tova, everybody. I'm glad to see your shining faces. I am inspired. And before Don spoke, I was going to say that what has inspired me so much is the dedication and hard work that everybody at the temple, especially you, Rabbi and Cantor, and everyone involved with jumping from plan to plan and changing and working to get through and to connect and to tell us how much you care. And I so appreciate everything you've done that's not really even visible. So thank you. And if our services, if our services this year are half as good as they were online last year, my soul will be full. So you set your own heart act to follow. The other thing that inspires me and made me grin the whole time he was speaking was listening to Don Mann. And Don, everybody adores you, and I'm amongst your fans. And I get to see Mickey at current events classes, and that's great. But Don, you forgot to say something. Do you know what yes, you forgot to say, isn't it a great day? Which is your trademark. One other thing I wanted to mention, even though I'm no longer a member of the board, I was solicited to make phone calls because we're reaching out to everybody in the congregation. And it has been a wonderful experience. Everyone I spoke to was so happy to talk. And we talked about COVID, and we talked about the temple and the changes and how everyone was feeling. And I felt hugs, and I knew some of the people I called beforehand, but now I know the others as well. And we found different ways, new ways to hug people, and doing it over the phone is a good one. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Myrna. And Ira just chatted me, and I see that Shirley is chomping at the bit because she is unmuted now. And that's what Ira was sharing. Hi, Shirley.
I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear? Okay. Ira, yeah. Is Ira speaking, right?
Shirley, it's you. Your turn.
Okay. One of the things that not only do I like, there's an aura when you come into the room when the service is about to start. And then when it starts, there's a kind of quietness that comes over the room because everybody is talking initially. And I've always found that people hug each other. They're not only are we communicating in a emotional way, verbally, but we're connecting emotionally, physically. And there was one time that I remember hugging somebody and said, you know, this is what I come to the temple for. I'm not touched, but when I come into the temple, I'm hugged, and physically and emotionally, and that really moved me. And well, I'm a strong hugger, as people who know me know, but I think that it's so important to be there for each other on any level. And we're very fortunate, Rabbi, that we have people like you and Lonnie that are open to this and encourage us to do this. So anyway, that's all I've got to say. But thank you for doing this. Even though I'm sick of Zoom, I think it's great. I'd rather have it than nothing. So
Thank you, Shirley. Thank you to everyone who participated. I'd like everyone to do one last thing on gallery view before we continue. There's a really neat image on here, and that's with Ira and Carol. And Ira and Carol, I'm going to ask you sort of move yourselves back and forward a little bit so that the image behind, there it is. You'll notice how they're going into and out of the Torah scrolls because it's a virtual background they have, so they fade in and out. That's exactly what we are all spiritually doing on the holy days. It's like we're being enveloped by our scrolls and seeing where do we fit on the page. Do we jump off of it? Are we absorbed by it? How do we turn the scrolls and become part of it? Our story is there. And over the course of the holy days, we are going to look at some of the texts, look at some of the difficult ones, wrestle with it. As Carol Sieben would say, we're going to struggle with it, but we are going to reap the joys from it as well and learn even more how we are as a people. The last thing that I'll share, and this is something that Cantor Lonnie and I both love. When we first began at Temple Akiba, you were a sea of strangers, a sea of strangers. It was scary for us. We now look upon this holy space as just an embrace of people that we love so deeply. And it's just such an honor to grow together, to really grow together and be on this journey as one. So I'm going to ask us all as we transition from this time of communal sharing that we just close our eyes for a minute, take a deep breath. There are two different kinds of Shema that we often speak about. There's the Shema Yisrael, and that's God saying to us, listen, O Israel. But that's juxtaposed to this next prayer that Cantor will share. It's called the Shema Kolenu. And that's saying, God, you listen to our voices. And both are important for prayer. There's us listening to God, but we also want God to listen to us. So our next prayer is the Shema Kolenu.
Shema Kolenu, Adonai תפילתנו, כי אל שומע תפילות בתחנונים. אתה שמע קולנו, אדוני אלוהינו, חוס ורחם עלינו. שמע קולנו, אדוני אלוהינו, חוס ורחם עלינו.
We are going to take one additional moment for our own silent reflections and prayers. It's so important when we come together for moments like this that we remember that there are those in this space and beyond who could use a lot of strength right now. And so we offer the Misha Berach, our prayer for healing. And as cantorial intern Liz shares the music, we invite you to place in the chat box if there are people that you are thinking of who could use strength and healing as we enter this new year, that you share those names so that we can acknowledge them and pray together.
מי שבירך אבותינו מקור הברכה לאבותינו. May the source of strength to bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Yisheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We ask once again for all who are able to please rise. We are about to offer the Avinu Malkeinu. I begin with this reading. I have to say, I'm in the sanctuary and the sun just came to a particular window, and it's as though by even saying Avinu Malkeinu that part of God's presence just shined in this space. Eloheinu Shabashamayim, God within and beyond, we seek you. Please let us find you. Eloheinu Shabashamayim, God within and beyond, reveal to us the glory of your deliverance. God within and beyond, draw us near to your service. God within and beyond, grant us your blessings. God within and beyond, help us with your saving acts. God within and beyond, let peace reign among us. God within and beyond, grant peace to the earth. God within and beyond, grant abundance to your world. Eloheinu Shabashamayim, God within and beyond, hasten for us the day of redemption. Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vaneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vaneinu, Ki ein banu maasim, Aseh imanu, Tzedaka v'chesed, Aseh imanu, Tzedaka v'chesed, V'hoshienu. Aseh imanu, tzedaka v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedaka v'chesed, v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vaneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vaneinu, Ki ein banu maasim.
Please be seated, everyone. I'm going to shift my camera a little bit. Usually during Slichot, we begin it with Havdalah because we usually begin Slichot a little bit later. But because we began it earlier, boy, the sun is really, there we go. Because we began it earlier, we're almost ending with Havdalah. We've got another ritual right afterward. Havdalah literally means separation. But it was maybe 2 years ago, I was sharing with a group at Akiba that it's all about how we're separate. And as he often does in his beautiful way, Ron came up to me afterward and said, "Why are you talking about separation? Why are you talking about being divided? Let's use this opportunity to talk about how we're united, about how the Havdalah candle is interwoven and braided." And there's truth to both. I mean, Havdalah is about making a distinction between the joy of Shabbat and the rest of the week. It's the distinction between what was and what will be. So yes, it's about separation, but for us right here, right now, it's about the fact that we're together in this holy, holy space. So I'm going to light the candle. And just as we began Shabbat with our candlelight, we end Shabbat with a candle that has at least 3 wicks, so our light has grown. We began Shabbat with wine and we end it with wine. And we also honor Havdalah with the sweet smell of spices to remind us of the sweetness that we are experiencing now. Cancers?
Ya Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen borei peri hagafen yai lai la 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 ya la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei v'samim borei minei v'samim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei meorei ha'esh borei meorei ha'esh ya lai 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Amavdil ben kodesh lecho Amavdil ben kodesh lecho
Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimhira ve'yamenu, Yavo Eleinu, Imashiach ben David, Mashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi.
Shavuatov, 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 Shavuatov. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. Cantor, do you want to introduce our music that we're closing with?
I would love to. We are closing with Olam Chesed Yibane, which means your steadfast love is confirmed forever. We're going to be singing the words from the actual song, and then once I'm finished, our cantorial intern will explain how the rest of our song will work. We're going to have a chance for all of us to participate in bringing light and life to this song.
And as we continue to build this world with love, we ask, what other things can we use to make this world a better place besides love, which is one of the most important forces in our world? But I invite you to enter into our chat words and concepts that we can use to build our world. Community. Olam b'yachad yibaneh. Yadadai, dai, yadadai, dai. 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 We together will build this world from love. Yadadai, dai, yadadai, dai. Our whole community together with love. Yadadai, dai, yadadai, dai. And if we all build this world with love, yadadai, dai, yadadai, dai, then our community will be filled with love. Yadadai, dai, yadadai, dai. I see compassion. If we build this world with compassion, yadadai, dai, yadadai, dai. All together with compassion, yadadai, dai, yadadai, dai. And if we work together to build compassion, yadadai, dai, yadadai, dai. Then this world around us will be filled with compassion. All of us, for all of us. I see kindness. Let's do kindness. Do we all need more kindness in this world? If we build this world from kindness, yadadai, yadadai, then we all work together for kindness, yadadai, yadadai. And if we live our lives with kindness, yadadai, yadadai, then all the world around us will be filled with kindness. Yadadai, yadadai.
Thank you so much, Cantori, Lintern, Liz. Thank you so much to Cantor Lonnie. Thank you to Carol Diamond, who, my gosh, for a year and a half has been our incredible lay Zoom master. Wow, just wow. I'm so appreciative for everything. We're all appreciative for all that you do, Carol. So our final tradition is the sound and blast of the shofar. I have two apologies to begin with. One is that I am a guitar player, not a wind instrument player or a shofar blower, but I'll do what I can. But the other is that I'm not sure how it will translate across your computers. So if it sounds bad, you can just say, oh, he blew it perfectly and it was the computer that was wrong, and all will be good in the world. But in all seriousness, it's our opportunity to allow, at least in our mind, the piercing sound of shofar to penetrate all the stuff that's built up inside of us. And so this sound will be the last sound that we hear during this Slichot service. And again, if you're able, we ask that you please rise. And Kendra, if you can offer a Tekiah Gedolah.
Tekiah Gedolah.